I went to Washington Elementary School, and we went to Washington through the seventh grade. And then eighth graders went to E.A. Kemp School, and from 8 through 12, E.A. Kemp School.
And what kind of schooling was that? I mean, what
When
kind
you
of
say what?
were they?
Segregated?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, segregated schools with not the proper literature and stuff to use. Our books and all were hand down from other schools that had been used. A lot of times pages were torn out of or what have you. But what we did have were teachers who really cared, and they wanted students to be the best that they can be, so they put so much of themselves into uh, the whatever we did, and they never left out the Bible. You know, most of the people back then, they if they were teachers, they were even some of mine were my Sunday school teachers. You know, and so all the time on Monday mornings when we get back to school, you were going to have prayer every morning, and then the principal would make the announcements, and uh, our teacher would always ask, well, did you go to church yesterday? How was Sunday school? What was the lesson about? You know, so this was something that we knew that this was going to go on, and we enjoyed it. I can remember so well my science teacher, who was also a member of our church. She would have us to memorize psalms, different numbers of psalms, and then and it wasn't just for us, it was for every student in her class. And we would have to stand up in front of the class and recite this the psalm that she had assigned for us to learn, you know. And so all of these things, it really makes it you more like a part of knowing what's really going on, because the Lord tells us to hide His word in our hearts. So that was kind of like what that helped us to do, is to hide that word in our hearts. And it's still easy now to just recite, you know, things. I think a lot of the things that our children miss out on now is the point of really having teachers who really, really care about the student learning. You know, not only that, they don't have the parental guidance that they really need. Parents are not bringing their children up. Uh, so many times you see kids that are 4 and 5 years old. A lot of them don't really even know their name, their parents' names, or anything. They're not giving them the fundamental education that they need to even start school. And when they're not given that, then they lose out, because teachers don't really have the time. There are too many things that are, I say a lot of times they're in it for the paycheck and not really to help children to learn, you know. And it doesn't matter about whether they're white or what, you know. You just don't find as many teachers that are really concerned about whether students learn. I realize that there are so many students now that go to school and they cause confusion. And a lot of times they're causing confusion because they're feeling left out, you know. And because they feel left out, then they do whatever they can to get attention, which is not a good thing, but it's a learned behavior, you know. Maybe at home they have to act out in order to get attention, but it really makes a difference.
Well, teachers back then were very much part of the community. I mean, like you said, they were your Sunday school teachers. And so
Yes,
you had a lot more accountability, would you
that's
say?
true.
Yeah.
That's really true. A lot more accountability. Not only that, it was something that they wanted to do for most black people during that time. Education or teaching was the only thing that they saw that they could really go forth in, you know. So they wanted to be teachers. They were talked into this is what you need to do is to teach so that, you know, and you'll be sure to get a job, you know. And so they started out doing that, and that's what they like doing.
One of the things that we've heard doing a lot of these interviews is that students felt like they couldn't act up in school because if when they came home, their parents always found out
Look, let me
before.
tell you, they knew it before you got home, and people didn't even have telephones then. Yeah, we would leave, we walked to school. We lived on the west side of town, and we walked to the east side to elementary school. And if any whatever happened between school and home, by the time you got home, parents already knew what was going on. If there was a fight going on, they knew about that, or whatever. It was just, and it wasn't that people didn't have a phone. It was just that word just got around just that fast, you know. And if you were a part of it, you were in trouble, you know, and you knew it. So that made a lot of difference too. I don't know that integration was the best thing that ever happened for students. I think to get to know individuals and to know really that we are all the same, we just have different pigmentations, is a good thing. But as far as uh, the care and the love that people still have for one another, I don't think it's there, you know. So I can remember my children saying that, well, you know, I could just hold my hand up and you hold your hand up and the teacher just overlooks you until the time for the bell to ring. And then she said, oh, did you have a question? There's no need of asking me if I got a question. Now it's time to go out the door, you know. I said, well, don't worry about it. So I just wait till I get home and I'll ask my mama. And that was, you know, a lot of times, I think a lot of times, but there were some good teachers, good white teachers. I can remember as being president of the PTA at Carver Elementary that by that time we had mixed, you know, we had white teachers and black teachers and all, and in our school, and some of them were very good. They interacted with the kids real well, and they tried to get to know the parents and work with them and the children. You know, I just think that the school setup is so much different now. Whereas I could see that once integration began, that black parents did not take a part with the parent-teacher organizations like they did in the all-black schools. And that made a big difference.